Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard. I am Penge and welcome to day 18 of our Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown, where we have a nice cup of tea and a little bit of a chat. And of course, what with it being day 18, it means now there is only 1 week until Christmas Day itself, and we're up here in the top right corner, which means all of the corners are done. All of the corners are now complete. So let's go into door number 18 and see what goodies are contained therein. We'll pretend that we don't know what this is again, because, it's nice to have a surprise. And oh my goodness me, it's punchy peppermint. So yes, not my favourite tea that we had, not my favourite tea at all. But you know what? I'll give it another go. I will give it another go because maybe second time round, I might actually find out that it's not too bad at all. So, okay, there we go. I'll give it another try. But to do that, we need to brew this for between 2 to 3 minutes, which is absolutely fine. So to do that, we need to go to the kettle. And here we are, back in the Geek Cupboard with our freshly brewed cup of punchy peppermint tea. And yes, as we saw last time out when we had the punchy peppermint tea, this is not my favourite one from the Advent calendar. I'm not the biggest fan of a minty tea. I mean, they're okay. They're okay. I can sort of, put up with them. They're passable, but I wouldn't choose to have one if I had a choice of other teas available. And this one here, the punchy peppermint, I mean, it smells strong. It certainly smells very minty indeed. But then, if I remember rightly, when we taste it, yeah, it's not as strong tasting as it is smelling, which is probably quite fortunate. So yeah, it smells quite minty. It doesn't taste quite as minty, which I guess is a good thing because otherwise, yeah, we were getting to sort of not quite levels of your sort of mouthwash mint sort of flavouring, but yeah, it would be quite strong indeed. But yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah, there's mint in there, obviously. There's a bit of chamomile in there. It's all right. It's okay. It's relatively sort of, underwhelming and unspectacular. It's just a sort of relatively sort of ordinary green tea, I suppose, which is, that's all right. It's probably very good for us and very cleansing and all that kind of stuff. I shall drink it. It's not my favourite one in the calendar, but you know what? Never mind. Nobody can like everything, can they? So, I'll go through it. It is absolutely fine. So let's go over to today's question. This comes from Danny Powell, who asks, how did you and Mrs Penge meet? Oh, this is a wonderful question. So strap yourselves in for a tale of romance and excitement and drama and mystery, which you might have to make up yourselves because the way that myself and Mrs Penge met was not really any of those things at all. So yes, many years ago, cast your mind back several years, I was at university, and as is it's relatively ordinary, I think, certainly in UK unis, you can have a course which has a year sort of in industry, as they call it in quotes. So I did 2 years at university doing the regular uni learning stuff, and then I did a year actually in a proper workplace, getting paid. I mean, not getting paid much, but getting paid something. And then went back and did my final year with all the dissertation, all that kind of stuff at the end. So whilst I was on that year away so I moved out of my house, moved to a new place where I was going to go and be working. And I lived with another chap who was working at the same place as I was. So we found this out and said, well, do you know what? To save a bit of money, why don't we just get a house together? Because otherwise, we're renting 2 houses and, we can share lifts or whatever. So we were sort of living together. And then we went to the pub one night. Went to the pub and there was a pub quiz on. So we had to go to the pub quiz. And we won the pub quiz. So we went, hooray, it's the pub quiz. We've come first. This is brilliant. And what they had was they had a big box. They had a big box full of different sort of bottles of beers and spirits and all that kind of stuff. So it was a big long wooden box. And on the front of it were 5 padlocks. And they're all sort of different types of padlock. And the idea was that if you won the actual pub quiz, you had to go at winning all the beer, but they gave you a massive ring of keys and you had to unlock all the different sort of padlocks on the front, and you didn't know what key was for what, and it was all over the place. And there was a time limit, and obviously everyone was watching going, go on, you can do it. So my housemate nominated me to have a go and do this. So we won the pub quiz and he was, go on, you do it. You have a go. It was really hard. It was very, very difficult indeed. So I think I got 3 undone. I think in the time limit, I got 3 padlocks unlocked. There were still 2 locks, so I couldn't get in. So I didn't win all the lovely beers and bottles of everything else that was in the big wooden box. I think what they do is, I think they add something else in. So they obviously know which keys to do. So they open it up, they add another thing in, they lock it all up again, and then they take a key away from the key ring. I mean, there were loads of them. It was like a massive round sort of key ring with loads and loads of keys on it of all different shapes and sizes. Then they take a key away. So the next person that has a chance, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier for them because obviously, the prize is getting bigger and bigger and they don't want it to just sit there for ages. So we didn't win. And I was a little bit miffed by this. I was a bit annoyed. So when it came to the following week, I said to my housemate, come on, we've got to go again. We've got to go back to that pub because I need another go at the padlock thing. I'm so confident I can do it this time round. So I went back to the pub and I think it was all about music. I think the quiz sort of was mostly about music. And we just sat on these stools around this sort of tall table thing. And I didn't know some of the answers. So we just turned to two people who were sat next to us, one of whom was Mrs Penge and then Mrs Penge's friend. Although she wasn't Mrs Penge at the time, of course. She was the future Mrs Penge. And yeah, so we just asked them these questions. Said, excuse me, do you know any of these answers, please? And they helped us out a bit. And then because we're there, we got chatting. And it was nice and we got on. It was all very lovely. And then the night ended, so in a very gentlemanly way, we walked them home. So me and my housemate walked future Mrs Penge and her friend home. And it was down quite a long, relatively sort of dark path through the sort of the little town where we were. So, that was quite a good thing to do. So we walked them home. And then we met them, several other times. And then Mrs Penge went away to university. So she went away to uni and I was in this sort of place doing my sort of placement. And we sort of tried to keep in touch as best we could. It was quite tricky because, she was at uni and I was doing work stuff. So, we kept in touch. We sent emails and what have you. And then when I finished, when I then finished my year and then went back to university, so I moved out of that particular town and went back home again, I suppose. I was able to then get the train down to see Mrs Penge a bit more. And then it just sort of went from there, really. So, we kept in touch. And then, I just kept going down every sort of weekend or so when I didn't have uni stuff to do and going to see her. And then it just sort of went from there. So, we sort of, got, hit it off, as it were, initially. It was like, yeah, you're nice. Yes, so are you. Yay, we like each other. And then we kind of, were parted by a year by sort of uni and work stuff. And then eventually, yes, we sort of just got back. And that was it, really. It went from there. So, it's not dramatic, it's not exciting, it's not really very romantic at all. It was in a pub at a pub quiz, and they happened to be sat at the same table as us. And that's kind of it, really. That is it. We were thrown together by pure sort of chance. And it does make me wonder sometimes. I do think, what if I'd have got the padlock thing sorted first time round? What if I'd have done that? Because if I'd have done that, then I wouldn't have probably gone back the next week. Because the only reason we went back was because I was really annoyed that I didn't unlock the padlock thing. I was cross with myself. So I thought, what, we're gonna go back. So if I'd have done it the first time round, we probably would not have gone back. So then, but then we would have been sat at that table, sat next to future Mrs Penge. And then, who knows what would have happened. Who knows where my life would be at that point? So it's very weird, isn't it? These sort of small decisions affect us in a very, very big way. But there we go. So how did you and Mrs Penge meet? It was in a pub at a pub quiz, and we asked them for some help with questions about pop music because me and my housemate were completely clueless. And we didn't win the quiz either that week. We did not win the quiz. But I think the person that did win it also didn't unlock all the padlocks. And then I don't know if we ever went back to the pub quiz after that. I'm not entirely sure. I can't quite recall. But there we go. That is the story of how myself and Mrs Penge met, isn't it? Full of just, drinks, full of alcohol. But there you go. So, at a pub. I'm sure we're not the only people to have met at a pub. I'll be completely honest. But there we go. Right. So absolutely, that's all sorted. I shall go and, I was going to say enjoy my tea. I'll go and finish my tea. It's sort of palatable and it's okay. And we'll finish things up for now. So yes, thank you very much for joining me in the Geek Cupboard for day 18 of our Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown. And I will see you next time. They've ripped my arms off, ripped my legs off. I mean, unfortunately they didn't rip anything else off. Yes, I am off my face on mushrooms. Why, Lady Charlotte, I would certainly love to taste your cake. The King of the West is an idiot. I am off my face on mushrooms. I mean, asking me questions isn't going to be my strong point at the minute.